All right, it is 11-time UFC veteran Jimmie Rivera, and now bare knuckle boxer as well, getting life started after the UFC run. I guess what's the feeling like? It's like a new chapter, a new phase of your career, right?
Yeah, man. Hey, man, it's been a long little layoff, so I'm excited just to get back in and fight again. I mean, my biggest thing sitting down with my management company with Malky in first round is just to keep it busy. And unfortunately, it's one of the things you have to be prepared with when you're, a free agent and there's other options coming in. Is that you got to kind of take your time and be patient about it. So it's been really hard to be patient, especially with this past year. I had two fights fall through. One was supposed to be Triller, and the fight got canceled because of COVID. And then the next one was my first bare knuckle fight in May, and the person got hurt, so he had to pull out. So it's been one of those uphill battles.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a start stop, I guess. I guess first of all, talk to me about leaving the UFC, man. I was surprised. I mean, obviously, I guess for you, was that a frustrating end to a time, or was it the right move? Were you excited about the opportunity to go chase these, other things out there? What was the departure like for you?
It was good. I didn't burn any bridges, so I always have that aspect of like be able to come back. The biggest thing was to experience free agency and see what other people had to offer. I know one of the things we waited for a little while was to see if PFL was going to do a 135 weight class. I know we waited a little bit on that, if they were going to do a Grand Prix and all. And I mean, can't say Grand Prix won $1 million. That's a no brainer. Um, but they decided not to, and then we did get this offer of bare knuckle, which just the offer and being able to do other fights like MMA stuff and being able, just to offer itself money wise makes sense. So, I sat down with Dave actually in Orlando when I was supposed to fight May 6th. And we just sat down, chit chat, talked. And it was he's a real cool guy, real nice guy, really down to earth, with the fighters. And with Malky, negotiating everything and taking care of me. I mean, it was a no-brainer kind of where to go. It just kind of sucked. It took a little time for it to get going.
No doubt. Well, I guess if anything, it's giving you more time to prepare, right? So I guess if there's a silver lining or a positive, it's that. I mean, I know you probably would just like to compete and get some money as well, but talk to me about the preparation process. I mean, are you like training specifically for bare knuckle boxing, or is it just kind of keep the routine that you had in the past? How are you prepping?
Oh, it's completely different. I mean, it's nice. People don't realize when you're doing MMA, you have to, you got to do your boxing, your kickboxing, your wrestling, your jiu-jitsu, your MMA, ground and pound. You got to do all these different art forms. And just to be able to focus on boxing by itself is a complete different thing. Now, obviously, we have to change the gloves around. It's a little bit more with the practice MMA gloves because it's bare knuckle. But with the whole thing, like people say, I was just talking to someone right now. He used to teach his son, and he was saying, "Oh my God, bare knuckles is kind of violent." I go, "Man, it's not really that violent compared to fighting, doing MMA fights." I go, I mean, someone was asking me, "Oh, aren't you worried about getting hit?" I'm like, I mean, I've been kicked in the face, right in when I fought Jan. I got kicked right in the freaking orbital. I go, I think getting kicked is a lot worse than getting punched. The one thing
Right.
though is that it's easy. Like when I watched the event and the events I've been watching, it's very easy for a cut to happen and it be a bad cut and for the doctor to stop the fight. So that's one of the things, the downside to it, wearing MMA gloves and not wearing gloves. But the preparation's been great. Just to focus on one aspect of martial arts, just focus on boxing. I mean, as you get older too, I guess it's a nice thing too. I don't have to worry about going into wrestling practice and doing a whole bunch of, takedowns, and then you get taken down, you get back up. So it's a little nice change of scenery. But I haven't closed my MMA door at all yet. But this is definitely the next step in my career that I'm looking forward to do. And then even looking maybe in between bare knuckle fights, getting some MMA fights as well.
I like it. It is such a funny thing, right? Because I do think the idea is that it's more violent, but you're right. I think that what you see is just it's cuts. Whereas in MMA, I mean, there's broken bones and stuff, and people are trying to rip ligaments away from you and stuff like that, right? Like it's not really that much more violent. It's just, I think, as you said, the blood factor, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, uh, it's definitely a lot different, and there's definitely a lot easy. I've already seen it a couple times. I'm not trying to. I don't like to talk down any sports. It's tough. Any person get in. Any person just want to think about getting into bare knuckle and going in there and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and bare knuckle box. There's my hands. Like me going in there, I'm like, I'm not really worried about getting hit as much as I'm worried about throwing a punch and getting someone top of the head. Like there's no cushion with that.
Right.
But I've seen in fights guys get hit already in the bare knuckle organization and watching the fight. I've seen a couple guys get hit and just like, yeah, I'm done. Like just gave up after that. And I'm like, I guess it's a different feel. I don't know, man. I've been hit before, so it's like you just keep it going. But I've seen guys give up, but I think that's the same thing when it goes to MMA. Some people just, you know, they realize, all right, maybe I can move around, not get hit a little bit, and I'll be fine. I could kind of, finish the fight. What, I got another 4 minute round, 4 minutes left, and then bare knuckle boxing. Like if I get hit again, that's a bare knuckle. I'm like, I'm gonna get hurt even more. I'm like, I'm okay. Like I've seen that in the fights, and it's it's funny when you watch it and you're like, man, don't you know what you signed up for? So,
Well, the one, and you touched on it there, the one thing that I've seen really in bare knuckle is just the accuracy is important and protecting your hands, right? Because, I mean, you break a hand in MMA, you've still got some other weapons out there you might be able to use. You break your hands here, it's tough. So I guess, what are you doing in terms of strategy, or are you doing anything in terms of preparing the hands? I mean, because as you said, that seems to be the biggest risk is you have to be really careful about shot selection and about accuracy that you don't break your hands.
I don't think it matters. I mean, at this day, I got a sleeve done, and one of the spots I got on the sleeve is my hand. I did a skull on it, and I was sitting there. That tattoo artist is a friend of mine, and the guys come, "Oh, you getting your hand today?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm getting my hand." Oh, that's the most painful spot ever to get a tattoo on. One of the most painful, besides your ribs, which I had my ribs too, and my ribs sucked. I'm not gonna lie on that. We did my hand, and he was like, "Oh, how you?" He's like, "I love Sergio." He's like, "Oh, how do you feel, bro?" I'm like, "I'm good." He's like, "All right," keeps going. I'm like, "No, I'm good." The only two spots I hurt, like right here on the bone on my hand, and like the inside, like right on the bone again, like right on that whatever bone you want to call that big bone right there. So besides that, my whole hand was fine. She was like, "You're fine." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." He's like, "You sure you're good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm completely fine." And my wife came that day too when I was getting tattooed. And my wife's like, "You have so much nerve damage, it's not even funny." And I go, "Yeah, probably." I'm like, "It didn't hurt at all." So in the fight, I mean, granted, if I break my hand in the fight, it's gonna suck, but I'm still gonna fucking throw it. You know what I mean? What's gonna happen? It's just gonna get worse. Fuck it. Who cares? You gotta win a fight. It's a fight's a fight. So it is what it is.
I love it, man. That's a fighter's attitude right there. So let me ask you: are you bothering with any wrestling training, jujitsu training, anything like that, or is it just pure striking all day?
We were talking about it with my coaches. I still coach some of the wrestling stuff like that, but I've kind of stayed and just focused more on the boxing, just focus on what I have to do. So I've been strictly boxing now. It's gonna be going on to my 7th month already, and it's been good. I mean, honestly, I feel 10 times better than I ever did in my career because going in with injuries and stuff like that from like wrestling and jujitsu and someone like, "Oh, your arm, your rotator." Like it's been a lot better. So it's definitely a change in scenery when training wise and my body, how I feel. The other thing I did was I went up in weight class and fight at 145. And I can't tell you, I've never felt any better like fighting up a weight class and not struggling to cut muscle and all this food and eat like a rabbit. So that's been one of the things. So, I've been sitting down talking. Maybe, when I come back from my MMA fight, my boxing fight, excuse me, I might go into MMA and do 45 instead. Make it, feel a little more comfortable there because I'm not walking around. I mean, I never walked around light for 135. So that might be a possibility as well as coming back on 145 as well. So we'll see. But be honest, I feel great walking around at a higher weight and being able to fight at a higher weight. Like my body just feels 10 times better.
It seems like the realization that a lot of people are getting to in their careers, right? But you don't see it early on. And we talk about it in the media sometimes, like how do we curb weight cutting because we know it's not good for people, but it's just like a psychological thing, right? It's just hard to get people. I mean, is there a way that you wish you could go back and tell your younger self, like, bro, you don't need to do this to your body?
Well, you know what it is that if you like me, I think about I had so much success at 35 that fight at 145 at the time. Like I had a lot of time off to bulk up a little bit, and I didn't even do that much. I mean, I live in the and doing stuff around my house was enough to bulk up. Especially we had a storm, cutting trees, moving. I keep stuff like that. So it helped me bulk up a little bit too. But I had so much success at 35, and then my coach was like, they're really big at 45. So you give yourself some time to kind of build build your base, your strength, stuff like that. So I had so much success in 35 that I didn't really want to go up. But then when you get some time off and you're like, all right, I could definitely do 45. I think that's one of the biggest things, being able just to get your body ready for a heavier weight class. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. I think you see that right now with Connor. It looks like he's bulking up and getting ready for 170. He's not really walking around at. He was probably walking around like he weighed in at what 169, 168 when he fought last time at 70. So that's the heaviest he's getting. Now he's bulking up and getting bigger. So, I mean, it makes sense. You want to fight at a weight class? Look at George St. Pierre when he fought Bisping. He took a lot of time and he bulked up and to get that weight class. After he fought the fight and all that, he was like, I didn't feel good himself. He went back down and lost the weight, and that's what happens. I mean, if you do that, for me, I didn't have to really bulk up that much because I was already a really big 135er. So I just put on a little bit more muscle and bulked up just a little bit more so I could fight at 45.
I like it. Well, we're going to get to see the debut on June 24th against Howard Davis, Hollywood, Florida, BKFC TV app if you can't be there in person. Jim, what do you do? Do you break down tape like you do for an MMA fight? I mean, are you studying this kid, trying to figure it out? What do you think about him as an opponent?
I think he's tough. He's tall. He's really tall. He's like 6'2", it says, supposedly. But I feel like I saw him at the fights. I feel like he was like 5'11" around, but I don't fucking know. I'm short as hell, so I'm 5'4". I was actually at the fights, and then I was walking. Someone looked at me and gave me like a double take, and I'm like, yeah, you good, bro? He's like, are you Chad Mendes? I'm like, no, I'm not Chad Mendes. I'm like, but thanks. I appreciate it. I get this all the time. I was one night, one of my teammates were fighting UFC. They're like, yo, you Chad Mendes, can I autograph? I'm like, nah. By the fourth person, I'm like, yeah, bro, come here. I'll do a picture with you. And it was the funniest shit ever. I was just like, yeah, fuck it. I don't know if it's because of the beard and my height and all that. I assume that's what it is. But I got that a couple times. So I was like, all right, whatever, fuck it. By the fifth time, I'm like, yeah, I'll just go with it. You know what I mean? I don't know. But no, man, I'm excited. I've studied tape on him. I watched some of his fights and just getting ready for him. Getting my game plans ready and going there and get my hand raised.
I love it. Well, I'm excited for it, man. I know you're a competitor, and I'm excited to see it happen. Talk to me. Listen, you got these options, man. I mean, I guess you probably don't want to look past it, but I think this is cool that, the way these organizations are working together where you can have multiple contracts with multiple organizations, right? MMA here, boxing here, bare knuckle here. Are you planning to kind of branch out like that and kind of do all these disciplines, or how do you see the future of your career going?
Fuck yeah, man. I mean, Dave's a really cool guy, and we talked about it because that's one of the biggest things is I don't want to, I don't want to be stuck. I want to keep busy, and I still want to do MMA. I never walked away from my MMA career. This was just the first step, in direction of fighting was bare knuckle. So, I've had, 2 boxing matches already fall through. It's like, all right, I need to get this boxing out of the way already. But Dave already has a game plan. You know what I mean? This is going to be one of those things where it's like a title eliminator. They don't have a 145-pound weight class. I like that. There's a plan. I don't have to go like 10-0 and then get a title fight. You know what I mean? I don't have to go. When I was at the UFC, I went 5-0, and they're still throwing people at me. I'm like, what is enough to get a title fight? So I just never saw at the end of the road where I couldn't. Like, I want to get a shot for the belt. You know what I mean? Give me a shot at the belt. Oh, this one, win this one, win this one, win this one. And after a while, it's tough. It's kind of breaks you down mentally. You're like, all right, man, I win these and I lose them. I don't know. But with them, there's a game plan. I spoke to Dave about it, and then the whole thing that you could fight in other organizations as well in the contract was huge. I thought that was an awesome thing. So I'm not looking past this. I don't know what will be next, but I definitely will see myself fight again as soon as possible. As long as I come out and my hands are good. I know my face will heal quick, but my hands are good and nothing broken. Yeah, I'll come out and maybe fight again in September, October. I want to stay busy, as I can.
I love it. I guess so. Knowing that a title shot could come close? I guess is knockout. Are you feeling like you got to go in there and do something spectacular, exciting, that kind of make a mark in that first one?
I mean, it's bare knuckle boxing, man. You're hitting someone, you give them a good cut, that's it. The fight's over. I've seen guys. One guy win in the fight, and the other guy just get a good shot in. He's cut. Doctor comes over in the round. That's it. The fight's over. You know what I mean? It just takes one shot, I feel like. But that's the same thing in MMA. MMA takes one shot, and that's it. The fight's over. So I don't think it matters. Even boxing, Gervonta Davis and his last opponent. You know what I mean? So that's really it. Anything can happen. I'm just looking to get my hand raised. I'm looking to beat this guy up, get my hand raised so I can move on to the next thing.
Love it. Can't say any better than that. Jimmie, I appreciate the time. Looking forward to it. And we'll knock on wood. We'll keep the fingers crossed. No falling out this time. Let's get this thing done June 24th in Hollywood, Florida.
Sounds good, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.